12 minutes. That's how long Marcus Reid was dead. 12 minutes without a heartbeat. 12 minutes without oxygen reaching his brain. And it happened on what was supposed to be the happiest day of his life. But here's what the doctors didn't tell his family when they finally brought him back. Sometimes, surviving is just the beginning of the fight. This is the story of Marcus Reid, a 52-year-old high school football coach from Athens, Georgia, who had never missed a practice in 15 years. He was the kind of man who ran 5 miles every Saturday morning, who still played pickup basketball with guys half his age, who could bench press his own body weight. The kind of man who thought heart attacks happened to other people. On June 18th, 2022, Marcus was supposed to walk his only daughter down the aisle. Instead, he walked her halfway and collapsed. What happened in the 12 minutes that followed would challenge everything his family believed about life, death, and the promises we make to the people we love. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Because to understand why Marcus died that day, we need to go back 3 weeks. To the moment he ignored the warning his body was screaming at him. It started with a heartburn. At least, that's what Marcus thought it was. 3 weeks before the wedding, during a late-night practice session, he felt a burning sensation in his chest, radiating up into his jaw. He popped a couple of Tums and kept coaching. 2 days later, it happened again. This time he was mowing the lawn. The burning came back sharper. He sat down on the porch steps, waiting for it to pass. His wife, Karen, came outside with lemonade. "You okay, honey?" "Yeah," Marcus said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Just this damn heartburn. Must be all that barbecue at your sister's place." Karen laughed. "I told you not to have thirds." But it wasn't the barbecue. Week 2 before the wedding, Marcus woke up at 3 a.m. drenched in sweat. His heart was racing. The burning was back, but now it felt like an elephant sitting on his chest. He sat up, tried to catch his breath. Karen stirred beside him. "Marcus." "I'm fine," he whispered. "Go back to sleep." He went to the bathroom, splashed cold water on his face, stared at himself in the mirror. "You're 52, he thought. "You're in shape. You run. You eat relatively healthy. This is nothing." But deep down, in that place where men keep the truths they're afraid to say out loud, he knew. Let me stop here and tell you something. Every year in America, over 800,000 people have heart attacks. And nearly half of those people ignored the warning signs. Men especially. We tell ourselves it's indigestion, stress, age. We convince ourselves we're too busy, too strong, too necessary to stop. Marcus had 20 kids depending on him for football season. He had a daughter getting married in 2 weeks. He had a life that didn't have room for weakness. So he did what millions of men do. He ignored it and kept moving forward. June 18th, 2022. The morning started perfect. Clear blue Georgia sky. Temperature already climbing toward 85 degrees by 9 a.m., the kind of day that makes you believe good things are supposed to happen. Marcus woke up early, like he always did. He went for a short jog, just 2 miles instead of his usual 5. His chest felt tight, but he told himself it was nerves. By noon, he was in his tuxedo, standing in front of the mirror in the church's groom's suite. His daughter, Emily, knocked on the door. "Dad, you ready?" Marcus opened the door, and there she was. 24 years old, blonde hair like her mother's, wearing the dress they'd picked out together 6 months ago. She looked at him, and her eyes filled with tears. "Don't you start," Marcus said, his own voice cracking. "You're gonna ruin your makeup." Emily laughed, wiping her eyes. "I can't believe this is happening." "Me neither, sweetheart." She hugged him, tight, the way she used to when she was little and had a nightmare. "I love you, Dad." "I love you too, Em, more than you'll ever know." What Marcus didn't tell her was that his left arm had been tingling all morning, that the burning in his chest hadn't stopped, that he'd taken 4 antacids in the last hour, and they'd done nothing. He just smiled and said, "Let's get you married." The ceremony was supposed to start at 2 p.m. At 1:58, Marcus and Emily stood at the back of the church, waiting for their cue. 200 guests were seated. Emily's fiancé, Brett, stood at the altar, grinning. Karen sat in the front row, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. The music started. Marcus offered Emily his arm. "Ready, kiddo?" She smiled. "Ready." They took the first step, then another. 10 steps down the aisle, Marcus felt the pain explode in his chest. Not burning this time. Crushing. Like someone had reached into his ribcage and was squeezing his heart with both hands. He stumbled. Emily felt it. "Dad." "I'm okay," he whispered, though he wasn't. They kept walking. 15 steps. 20. Marcus's vision started to blur. His left arm went completely numb. The church felt like it was tilting. 25 steps. He looked up and saw Brett at the altar. Saw Karen in the front row, smiling through tears. Saw his daughter beside him, the most beautiful thing he'd ever been part of creating. And then his heart stopped. Marcus didn't remember falling. 1 second he was standing. The next, he was on the ground, staring up at the vaulted ceiling of the church. He could see mouths moving, but couldn't hear anything. Saw Emily screaming his name. Saw Brett running down the aisle. And then everything went black. At 2:03 p.m., Marcus Reid's heart stopped beating. The left anterior descending artery, the one cardiologists call the widowmaker, was 98% blocked. No blood was reaching his heart. No oxygen was reaching his brain. He was clinically dead. Brett, Emily's fiancé, was a paramedic. He immediately started CPR. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. Over and over. Someone called 911. Karen pushed through the crowd, dropped to her knees beside her husband. Marcus, stay with me." But he couldn't hear her. 4 minutes passed. Brett kept pumping Marcus's chest, cracking ribs in the process, a sign that CPR is being done correctly, but brutal nonetheless. Emily stood frozen, her wedding dress pooling around her, mascara running down her face. "Someone help him," she screamed. "Please." 6 minutes. The ambulance still hadn't arrived. Brett was exhausted, but he didn't stop. A guest who was a nurse took over, giving Brett 30 seconds to catch his breath. Then he was back at it. 8 minutes. No pulse. No breathing. Guests were crying, praying, filming on their phones. Karen held Marcus's hand, whispering, "Don't you leave me. Don't you dare leave me." 10 minutes. The paramedics finally arrived. They took over CPR, hooked Marcus up to a defibrillator. Clear. The shock hit his body, made him convulse. Nothing. Still flatline. Again clear. Another shock. Nothing. 12 minutes without a heartbeat. Do you know what happens to the brain after 12 minutes without oxygen? Irreversible damage. Even if they bring you back, you're not really you anymore. Memory loss, cognitive impairment, personality changes. The person your family knew, gone. Karen knew this. Emily knew this. As they watched the paramedics work on Marcus in that church, they weren't just praying for him to live. They were praying he'd come back as himself. At 2:15 p.m., 12 minutes after his heart stopped, the paramedics delivered a third shock. Marcus's body convulsed. And then, a beep. Faint, almost imperceptible. "We've got a rhythm," one of the paramedics shouted. Another beep. Then another. Marcus's heart was beating again. Weak, irregular, but beating. They loaded him onto a stretcher, wheeled him out of the church past rows of stunned guests, still in their wedding attire, some still holding the programs that read Emily and Brett, a celebration of love. Karen followed the stretcher, holding Marcus's hand. Emily stood at the altar in her wedding dress, watching her father disappear through the church doors. Brett put his arm around her. "He's strong," Brett whispered. "He's gonna make it." But neither of them knew if that was true. Marcus was rushed to Athens Regional Medical Center. By the time they got him into the cardiac catheterization lab, his heart had stopped twice more. Each time, they shocked him back. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the interventional cardiologist on call, didn't waste time. She threaded a catheter through Marcus's femoral artery, up into his heart, and found the blockage. The Widowmaker. 98% occluded. "We need a stent," Dr. Mitchell said. "Now." She inserted a tiny mesh tube into the artery, inflating a balloon to push the plaque aside, reopening the pathway for blood flow. The procedure took 43 minutes. When it was done, Dr. Mitchell pulled off her mask and went to the waiting room. Karen and Emily stood up immediately. "Is he?" Karen couldn't finish the sentence. "He's alive," Dr. Mitchell said. "We got the stent in. Blood is flowing to his heart again." Emily sobbed with relief. Karen put her hand over her mouth, tears streaming. "But," Dr. Mitchell continued, and that single word made them both freeze. "His heart was without oxygen for 12 minutes. We don't know yet if there's brain damage. He's in a medically induced coma. We'll know more in the next 24 to 48 hours." Karen nodded, unable to speak. Emily whispered, "Can we see him?" They led them to the ICU. Marcus was surrounded by machines, tubes everywhere, a ventilator breathing for him. He looked small. This man who had carried Emily on his shoulders when she was 5, who had taught her to ride a bike, to throw a football, to change a tire, who had walked onto that church aisle just 3 hours ago, strong and proud. Now he looked fragile. Karen sat beside him, took his hand. "You listen to me, Marcus Reid," she whispered. "You don't get to leave me, not like this, not today, you hear me?" No response. Just the rhythmic beep of the heart monitor and the hiss of the ventilator. Emily stood at the foot of the bed, still in her wedding dress. "Dad," she said softly, "I need you to wake up, please." The machines kept beeping. But Marcus didn't move. Marcus didn't wake up. The doctors kept him sedated, letting his brain and heart rest. Karen never left his side. Emily went home, changed out of her wedding dress, and came back. Brett, who was supposed to be on his honeymoon, sat with them in the waiting room. Day 2, they reduced the sedation. "We're going to see if he can breathe on his own," Dr. Mitchell explained. They turned off the ventilator. For 10 seconds, Marcus didn't breathe. Karen gripped Emily's hand so hard it hurt. Then, a gasp. Shallow, weak. But his chest moved on its own. "That's good," Dr. Mitchell said. "That's really good." But he still didn't wake up. Day 3, his eyes fluttered. Karen saw it first. "Marcus," she leaned forward. "Baby, can you hear me?" His eyelids moved again. Then, slowly, they opened. He stared at the ceiling, confused. Blinked. Turned his head slightly and saw Karen. His lips moved. No sound came out at first. Then, barely a whisper. "Karen." She burst into tears. Yes, baby, it's me." He blinked again, trying to process. Where am I?" "You're in the hospital. You had a heart attack at the wedding." His eyes widened. "Emily." "She's okay," Karen said quickly. "She's right here." Emily moved to his side. "Hey, Dad." Marcus looked at her, and tears filled his eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "For what?" "I ruined your wedding." Emily laughed through her tears. "Dad, you didn't ruin anything. You're alive, that's all that matters." Marcus Reid spent 2 weeks in the hospital. The doctors ran every test imaginable. Cognitive function, normal. Memory, intact. Motor skills, recovering. Against every odd, there was no brain damage. 12 minutes without oxygen, and he came back whole. Dr. Mitchell called it a miracle. Karen called it stubbornness. 3 months later, on a sunny September afternoon, Marcus walked his daughter down the aisle. Again, Emily and Brett had postponed their wedding. They wanted Marcus there, really there. This time, he made it all the way to the altar. He handed Emily to Brett, kissed her on the forehead, and whispered, "I love you, sweetheart." Then he turned to Brett and said, "Take care of her, and if your chest ever hurts, don't be an idiot like me, go to the hospital." The whole church laughed and cried. Today, Marcus Reid is 54 years old. He still coaches football. He still runs, though now with a defibrillator vest, just in case. And he doesn't ignore his body anymore. He says the heart attack taught him something. That being strong doesn't mean ignoring pain. That asking for help isn't weakness. And that the people who love you would rather see you alive and recovering than dead and perfect. Last month, Emily had a baby. A little girl. They named her Grace. Because that's what Marcus got that day in the church. Grace. A second chance. 12 extra minutes. If you or someone you know is experiencing chest pain, shortness of breath, or unexplained discomfort, don't wait. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America, but it's also one of the most treatable if you act fast. Organizations like the American Heart Association offer free resources, symptoms guides, and life-saving information at heart.org. If Marcus's story moved you, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe, because every week we're bringing you stories of survival, hope, and second chances. Thanks for watching. And remember, listen to your body. It's trying to save your life.